Welcome to another gathering of the Gold Key Adventurers Society. Have a seat by the fire as we prepare to help you unlock the secrets of the travel life. From theme park thrills to Purple Mountain's majesty, we want to see it all and do it all, and we want to help you do the same. We all have those bucket list trips, once-in-a-lifetime destinations that we'll get to someday. We're here to help you make your travel dreams a reality. Buy the ticket, take the trip. Where do you want to go?
Come on, now tell me what's on your bucket list. Okay, hey, it's a beautiful day. Okay, hey, it's a beautiful day.
Welcome back to another meeting of the Gold Key Adventurers Society. My name is Dan Leonard.
Hi, Dan.
And joining me this week in the studio is Heather Straight.
Hey, everybody.
And Mr. Jeff Williams.
Hey, that's me.
Sure is. Our show, as always, is brought to you by Key to the World Travel. Key to the World Travel is a full-service travel agency specializing in theme parks, cruising, and destinations around the world. Head to www.keytotheworldtravel.com for more details and a no-obligation quote on the vacation of a lifetime. Hey guys, what's big and white and floats around the Caribbean with 7 pools, 40 restaurants and bars, 400 slot machines, and 2,800 guest rooms?
What? Tell us.
I was going to say is Royal Caribbean Cruise Line's newest, biggest, bestest boat yet, the Icon of the Seas, but I guess it could be, Jeff.
The biggest cruise ship in the world.
In the world.
World for now, at least.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Till the next
Until
one.
they make a bigger one.
Yep. They tend to do that. Well, you guys recently had a chance to take a spin on this record.
We sure did.
Ship. And so, I'd like to hear all about it.
We did. We were on the naming ceremony, and we were on board with Lionel Messi as he was there to swear her in or whatever. The
Godfather of the ship. The Godfather.
She had to promise to uphold her duties and
That's right.
Yes.
in sickness and in health and all that stuff.
Yes, the Icon is now a citizen of Lionel Messi Town, USA. He swore her in.
Gross.
So we saw him in passing. We were not in the room where they did the ceremony in the big theater, but
It was a big deal. He had quite the list of demands for agreeing to come to this ceremony. The ship was surrounded by Miami-Dade police boats the whole time that he was on board. Because, he's a footballer.
He's afraid of getting kidnapped.
Is that really a major concern amongst the
Well, I think
players?
it's a carryover from when he played not in these United States.
But in the South America, maybe it is a thing in Argentina. I don't know.
Anyway, the ceremony was great. The ship is tremendous. So we were on there, hosted by Royal Caribbean. And so that was nice. And they had everybody that was on it was either industry or media, tons and tons of media, people from Travel Weekly and all the other magazines and blogs and everything were there filming everywhere. This ship is gorgeous.
It is quite impressive. And I have to say that leading up to this sailing, I wasn't sure what I was going to think because all of the publicity photos of it, you just see this giant neon monstrosity, really.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what I was going to think, whether it was going to feel the last ship I was on was the Symphony of the Seas, the Oasis class ships, and they feel very Mall of America meets Las Vegas when you enter the ship, and it's not really my thing. Yeah,
very much.
Those ones have a similar, that kind of Central Park theme.
They do have Central Park on those ships, which I love on those ships as well. But the what it's called, the Royal Promenade, yeah,
is where you enter. And it feels like you're walking into the mall, which I'm used to Disney ships and Norwegian ships even. They have like a grand entryway that's more like a atrium This one is like you're walking into the mall.
On the Oasis class ships, yeah.
This one still is that.
Yeah.
It's the exact same.
Yeah.
It just feels less garish.
It does. It felt a little bit more, it's hard to describe, less like you're walking into the Mall of America and a little bit more like it's still huge. This is a massive, massive ship, but it feels they've set it up so that there are all these different neighborhoods. And the whole ship has all of these different neighborhoods, and each one has its own sort of almost intimate feeling, even though you're on a ship that can hold almost 10,000 people. They've really done a good job of segmenting it, and the Royal Promenade is a little less Las Vegas on this ship. I really enjoyed it much more than I did.
The color scheme and everything is lighter and brighter and less sort of neon-y. There's a lot of different restaurants and bars and stores all
right there.
And then right in front of you as you come on is what they call the Pearl, which is just a huge dome with a grand staircase that goes through it up into a beautiful glass area that is new to this class of ship. And that really lets a lot of light in there and makes you feel less Vegas-y and more like beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say a lot of the pictures I've seen, it's not. When I think of a lot of cruise ships, you kind of still think of that kind of old generation dark wood and gilt everything and marble, and a lot of it looks a lot more kind of modern,
much more
playful. It looks more playful and modern to me.
So similar to what Heather was saying, when I was getting ready to go on this ship, I had only seen, they love the helicopter or drone shot from up above where you see the whole ship at once. And the whole thing taken at once is a little bit on the tacky side.
It's a lot.
It's just all these neon colors and neon lighting, and they love the dusk where you can see all the colors and everything. But when you're on the ship, you're only in one of those areas at a time, and that's what I was not prepared for. So when you're within each area, they're all gorgeous. So you can't see all 15 decks when you're standing there on the back of the ship. You're seeing the one beautifully themed area you're in. And so that's a real difference that you can't get from the outside shots, is just that each individual area is individually themed and done really, really well.
And each area has its own restaurants and bars and entertainment. And it is a lot. It's a huge ship. I mean, we didn't see every inch of it in the 4 days that we were on board. This ship is going to sail 7-night sailings, so you'll have a better grasp of the ship.
Our last night on there, we even discovered that there was this awesome sports pub there with
that we hadn't seen yet.
TVs and games and everything. Massive, awesome place, but you go like through one store into this other place. We just had not made it to that level.
Which is next to an ice skating rink, by the way.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a beautiful ice theater where they do a show. I'd say that theater probably holds like 800 people
lot of
or
people.
something to watch an ice skating show on a boat. Like, this is the scale of this thing is bananas. But when you're within each area, it really feels weird to say, but almost intimate. Like each little hangout area is its own vibe.
And it's definitely a multi-generational experience. There are areas of this ship that will fit the vibe of people who want fewer children and a more quiet experience. That would be in the Central Park area. Families with younger kids. On this ship, it's at the back of the ship again, and on the Oasis class ships, it's kind of a carnival boardwalk sort of a theme. On this ship, it's called Seaside. Surfside. Yep. And it's a nautical, still a little bit boardwalky, but very, very well put together for families with younger kids.
And there's so much to do in there. There's a climbing area and slides, and then
a little playground.
Grand staircase going into the thing has a slide next to it. So mom and dad can walk down the stairs. The kids can go down a pretty long slide to get to the thing. So there's climbing stuff in there, and then like a whole splash pad, bucket dump area, and then like a chill zone that's like one of many of these they have for adults and kids alike. But this kids one in the Surfside area has all these areas to just hang out and whatever and be in the water. And then on either side of it is a bar that mom and dad can
Yeah.
order drinks from. They have a ton of non-alcoholic drinks and snacks in there. And then there's just like a hangout area where mom and dad can watch the kids either play in there or play in the splash pad too, without having to do it themselves or get wet or whatever. It's really well thought out. It's a lot more usable, I think, than the old boardwalk on the Oasis class.
And Surfside is definitely targeted more to families with the younger kids. Then as you get up into teens and tweens, that's where you go to the Thrill Water Park, which is what you really see when you're looking at those drone shots.
Yeah, the top deck is
all
divided into Thrill Island and Chill Island.
Yeah.
So Thrill Island has 6 mega water slides. And
Massive water
these
slides.
things are full water park sized water slides. And there's racers and there's raft ones and body ones. It's bananas, the stuff they have on this ship.
Yeah, it looks like there's a tube that goes out over the water on the racing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also Hideaway Beach is adults only chill out area. So you could have a multi-generational family vacation on this ship from grandparents all the way down to, real little grandchildren, and everybody's going to find something for them and geared towards them.
Yeah, I love the top deck being divided into Chill Island and Thrill Island was really, really cool. Because the Chill Island had the most water I've ever seen.
So many pools on this
on
thing.
any ship. It wasn't just like a pool. It was like a huge area that was like a foot deep of water that had chaise lounges down in it. And then multiple pools that sink down into these areas. And then there's like 9 hot tubs, I think.
So
on
many
the
hot
ship.
tubs. And
everywhere.
the first swim up bar at sea at Swim and Tonic. Really, really cool area.
That whole area is another one. The whole area is about a foot deep in water, and then it steps down to get deeper. And then there's benches and even little cocktail tables that are sunk in the water. So you can be sitting on a bench at a table with your drink, and you can swim right up to the bar and order. I don't know why ships have never had a swim-up bar before. It's always been weird to me when cruise ships have like 2 dinky pools on the whole thing. Like make the whole... This thing is just like the whole top deck basically is water.
Yeah, they really made a big deal about the number of pools.
Yes.
They have several, they have a couple of cantilevered infinity edge pools at sea, including one right on the bow of the ship. I'm looking at an overhead shot, and that
that's
amazing.
the hideaway, the adults only area. It's awesome.
Yeah, just sitting right there with the wake of the ship behind you, and it's an infinity edge pool, so you're looking right over.
They really have made the ship the destination.
You're looking down like from 14 floors above. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. And this ship is going to cool ports of call, but honestly, you could stay on this ship the entire week and it would be a great vacation. And I think that's kind of what they're going for. Some of the way that they're marketing this they really have positioned it to be a fighter against the family theme park vacation. This is like a cruise and a theme park all rolled into one on this ship.
Oh, there's so much to do.
So
Heather
much.
did one of the cool things that's in the Thrill Island part of the top deck, which was describe that. I guess an obstacle course is what
kind of a ropes course. It's called Crown's Edge, and you put on a full flight suit and a harness, and you climb up, and you do a little, very short ropes course that takes you out over the edge of the ship. And then you basically walk the plank. You walk out to this platform, and the folks controlling it are chatting with you and asking if you could, what you're seeing in the view as you standing over the edge of the ship looking out, and then it drops out from underneath you. And you seem
like
to
a diving
plummet.
board sort of a thing that it
feels like you're falling off the side of the ship, and you're all harnessed, and so then you like swing around further out over the edge and then back onto the ship. It was
the whole
really
time
fun.
You're doing this sort of ropes course thing. It's little platforms. You jump from platform to platform, but you're strapped to a little carabiner thing that's hooked to a track up top. So when you get around to what she's talking about, you drop about a half a foot, but it probably feels
it feels further. Yeah.
Because you're, 200 feet or whatever above sea level there where you're standing.
Yeah, it's the top deck of this massive, what is it, 18,
it's like 18
20
or 19
decks?
floors up there. So
So
I think
high.
you go there from deck 18. So you're 19 floors above sea level.
Mhm. And they have a little camera on your harness that's videoing you the whole time, and they take photo for you. It was really neat. I don't know how I would have felt about it if I did it while we were still docked in Miami. I'm not sure how I would have felt about it when the ship was moving, but because then you've got the wind and I know it was
True.
really kind of
of the wind
spectacular.
factor.
That's one of the experiences that is an upcharge, and it's going to be dynamically priced. So if you'll pay less to do it when it's in port than you will on a sea day when it'll be higher in demand. And from what they told me when I was trying it out, it's booked up on all the sailings all the way through the end of the year.
So you can pre-book that before you even get on the ship.
Yeah. And it's going to run anywhere from $50 to $100 depending on when you do it, which is, it's a lot.
I think 50 seems okay. 100 seems way too much because that whole experience was about 2 minutes.
It did not take, yeah. There is a lead up to it. So you sign up for a time and then you check in and you go in and they give you all of your safety equipment. You put a full flight suit on, shoes. You have to wear closed-toed shoes, and they have
helmet.
Yep, they have shoes that they'll provide you if you didn't bring. They're like the same ones that they use on the climbing wall next door, and a helmet and a harness that you sit in. It's kind of like a zip line style harness. So that it's one that you can sit down and you sort of hang in it. And then you watch this video that has it's a really well done, it's the safety video, but it's also the story of what you're doing. And the story is that you are trying to escape from Thrill Island and you've followed the map and you're here. And so it pulls up what the little ropes course that you're going to do. And you're going from here to here and you're going to find the X that marks the spot and hopefully escape from Thrill Island. And then you all go up as a group and they hook you in and you try it out before you even go up onto the ropes course. You have to sit down in it, make sure that it's holding your weight and all strapped in correctly. And then you head out onto the little course, which is fairly far apart, very narrow little steps. If you're short like me, it feels a little intimidating. And at first,
at the lowest point when they're over the deck, that's still probably
it's pretty high.
Off the deck, 20, 30
But I was
feet,
like, this is nothing. This doesn't feel that high. And then you get up and round the corner and you're out over the water. And I'm not really afraid of heights, but it was intimidating being up that high with little teeny tiny little steps to stand on. And I had seen several people do it, so I knew about the drop. It wasn't a surprise. I still screamed my full head off when they dropped me. But it was a lot of fun. But the whole thing, from the time that you get suited up and watch the video until you're done, is probably 30 minutes. But actually out on the course, what was it, 2-3 minutes tops?
Yeah.
It's very quick. And then right next door to that, they also have a climbing wall. That's been on a lot of their ships with various heights.
Is that an upcharge? I couldn't tell.
I don't think so.
It seemed like not.
I don't think that the climbing wall is an upcharge. No, it's not that I recall on the Oasis class ships. They don't have a zip line on this one that they do on the Oasis class ships. No, it seemed like the Crown's Edge was kind of a replacement for that.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a flow rider.
They do. Right there at the back of the ship, we watched some folks wiping out spectacularly.
That area is all in part of the water park area there.
Thrill Island, yeah. And
they call the actual water park part something else, and you go through the water park, and there's a whole mega flow rider back there, 2-lane flow rider. I'm like, what?
And there's a mini golf course, and actually on this one, it looked really cool.
It's a really coolly themed one. It looks better than
pirate.
Yep.
Themed thing.
Pirate themed putt. Yeah. Very cute.
A great little course. And basketball, of course, courts and all that. Two decks of sports decks They're all that on the top deck. And then that's just the Thrill Island part. And then the rest is Chill Island, which is where they have all the bars and swim up bar and 2 different giant hangout areas.
There really is a ton of stuff to occupy people on sea days. And what we noticed, we asked how full our cruise was, and it was fairly close to being full.
Yeah, I'd say about
capacity.
75%.
There were just over 7,000 guests. That doesn't include the 2,500 staff, and it did not feel overwhelmingly crowded. The only time we really had a complaint was about an elevator situation, and that was the day that they did the naming ceremony, and everything was all in sort of the same area of the ship. It was everybody in the theater who were at the actual naming ceremony, and then they had these sort of satellite areas where you could go and watch, and all of that led out at the same time on the same end of the ship into the same elevator banks
At dinner time.
At dinner time, yeah. So we ended up leaving that elevator bank and walking further down the ship to a different one because every single elevator that opened was jammed full.
I will say there's 2 giant elevator banks. And when I mean giant, the elevators themselves are huge, and there's 10 elevators at each one of these banks.
And they're smart elevators.
Ship, there's like 4 or something. Yeah, the smart elevators are great. You just press floor 12 on a keypad and it tells you which elevator to go to. That's really cool.
And one night we were waiting for an elevator, and I guess this is something that does happen as well on the Oasis ships. I hadn't experienced it. And some elevator doors open, and coincidentally, some friends of ours were getting off, and they said, "I don't care where you're going, get on this elevator right now."
Yep.
So we get on the elevator, and there is a guy in there with a full piano, like in all sort of steampunk costume.
Yeah.
Doing little
playing ragtime music.
Yeah, just in the elevator.
They've just wheeled a whole ass piano in, and so there's a guy playing a full size, upright piano, and also 12 people. That's how big these elevators are. Like there was a ton of people in there and a full elevator.
It was a lot of fun, really cool, and very unexpected.
That sounds delightful. And at the same time, slightly annoying, depending on how many decks you have. Down.
Yeah, or if you were just like, I've got to go deal with my sick husband or something, and then you get on.
Yeah.
Depending on your mood. Our mood was great. We had a buzz, and we were just heading up. So that was
It
great.
was very cool. Now, the other thing about this ship is the variety of staterooms. They have, again, something for everyone, and the staterooms are very, very nice, really pretty, very nicely decorated, like you were saying before, sort of modern cool tones. And they have everything from your small standard inside stateroom on a cruise ship up to these just massive suites. They have a family suite that has a slide from the kids' bedroom upstairs down into the main level, and that family suite
separate playrooms and video game rooms.
Yeah, it's got a whole like living room kind of setup where they've got PlayStations and everything you could want. A big wall that's a chalkboard.
Yeah, there's 2 of those big family suites.
Very, very
have
cool.
Their own entrance. You go down the steps from your private steps right into that Surfside area that we were mentioning. And so their balcony wraps around. So it has one side looks into Surfside, and the other side looks out onto the seaside. So
and they have their own private hot
pretty
tubs.
swank.
There are more adult-themed giant suites like that. One of them has a full grand piano and a table that seats 12, and you get your own butler in that category.
And they have a suite neighborhood, too, that services all of the suite level guests. So they have their own restaurant and hangout area and pool bar.
And it looks out over the Aqua Theater, which on this ship and this new class is at the front of the ship.
If you look at the ship, it looks like the front of it's wearing a trucker hat. The Aqua Dome is that whole area in the trucker hat.
Yeah.
Which is a
like
very
huge
cool
glass atrium
area. Chill hangout zone and the Aqua Theater where they do some diving shows and stuff.
And then there's a couple of different bars. There's a seafood restaurant inside of there and a whole food hall, all in that Class Atrium part.
My stateroom is one of the new class of rooms that they had on the ship, and I absolutely loved it. I think yours was the same class of room as mine, wasn't it, Jeff? It's called an infinite balcony. So it's a balcony stateroom, but you basically, the balcony section is all glassed in, and it has this window that you can open it, and it comes down to about the height that on a regular balcony stateroom where the balcony would start.
Maybe a little bit higher than that.
Maybe a little bit,
right at my sternum.
But so you can have it open and it's like you're outside on a balcony, or you can close it and now you have floor to ceiling glass. You can look out on the ocean and it's all usable, but you're inside.
It gives you like 4x8 of extra room too. So there's 2 chairs and a little table and a footstool in there. So that could just make your room bigger, or it could be
outside,
whichever you like.
I loved it because I find I don't spend a lot of time sitting out on the balcony when I have a regular balcony stateroom, and I spent more time sitting in it with the balcony closed because then I could still enjoy the air conditioning, but see the ocean. And it's still carpeted, but it changes to like a sort of an indoor-outdoor carpet there in case you've got the balcony open and you get sea spray and stuff
because it's floor to ceiling window, you'd think that's a lot of sun coming in. It has the most intense and awesome shade that comes down in a track. It's a hard piece that comes down, and there is no light that gets
it was
in there.
great.
So if you are the type that wants to sleep late and get roached up in your room, you can do that so well in there.
And it makes the room feel so much bigger because you've got that balcony space when you have it closed, as opposed to a traditional balcony. When the door is closed, you're not able to use that space when you're just moving around the stateroom. The bathrooms on Royal Caribbean in their standard rooms are pretty small, like most cruise bathrooms. They don't have most of their rooms don't have the split bath like they do on Disney Cruise Line, which I love, but it was still very usable and a really nice. The shower door had a pretty ingenious opening and closing.
The shower was so smart. It was a huge shower.
Yeah, much bigger than on their other ships. Their other ships tend to be a little tiny, corner thing that you could one person, and it's fine for me because I'm small. I can't imagine what it's like for tall people in those.
It's terrible usually.
But this one seemed very roomy. Very big. It had a seat.
Your shower, your sink, and vanity and toilet are all in the same area, but it's a pretty cool layout they've come up with that feels roomy. So you have a full-size shower.
They had some really great storage, nice closets. One of the things I liked that was new on this ship was they had these baskets that slid in and out of the wall that you could store stuff in. Every
raised
space,
bed, so your luggage goes underneath. And then an interesting thing, it was a full-size mirror, but if you opened that mirror, it was shallow, but you could put hats and
lots of storage,
different stuff you want there. And the safe was in there too. And then this thing had what all rooms, hotel rooms and ship rooms should have, is pegs everywhere. So there were 6 pegs by the front door to hang lanyards or ball caps or whatever, purses.
Jeff's really into pegging his head.
Yes.
Yeah, that's new that's not new for me, but it's new for Disney.
Another room category that they have, I guess they probably have this on the other ships that have the Central Park, but they have these interior kind of balcony rooms so they kind of split the difference between those sea view balconies and an interior room.
And they split the difference in cost too.
Right. And they have those overlooking Surfside and Central Park. The Surfside ones we noticed were all traditional style balconies where you have a sliding glass door and you go out and sit on the balcony. The ones in Central Park, some of them were traditional and some of them were the infinite balcony like we had.
Most were the infinite balcony.
A lot of them were like that. And
Central Park on this one had a newer design. It felt more open and nicer there because they don't have, there's a big bar that goes up and down on the Oasis class that starts in the Grand Promenade and goes up into or down into Central Park. And they don't have that in this one, so it doesn't take up the center of the park there, and it makes it for a lot more roomy.
Mm-hmm.
But in that area, there's literally birds flying around, like real birds. We thought they were recordings till we saw them, but
Birds.
there's real birds that make their way onto it when it's in port. But trees everywhere, and then there's a champagne bar and a little cafe, and there's
sushi.
Amazing food option. There's a jazz club. So as you stroll this ship, you're just walking by. Here's a bar. Here's a takeout window. There's so many bars.
And you could have a balcony overlooking that. I was wondering when I was first looking at it, like, why does Surfside not have the infinite balconies? And I think the thought there is because those are geared towards families, especially with younger kids, is that the traditional balcony, you can be out on it with the door closed and somebody can be inside sleeping. So nap time for the kids, mom and dad can be out on the balcony talking and not disturbing the kids. You don't have that with the infinite balcony room. And that's something that I would definitely point out to families who want that space that is fully separate from someone who's asleep, is you don't have that on the infinite balcony. There is a curtain that can pull to separate you from that area, but you'd have to be quiet if you were trying to not disturb someone. And
the curtain would at least cut the light out if you had it open, but it's still gonna. For
families with young kids, I would highly recommend the Surfside area because the ship is so big. If you were in a stateroom on the opposite end of the ship, it's going to be a significant walk to get your little kids down into that Surfside area where they probably want to hang out. So that is the play for families with young kids, is stay in the Surfside area. And you can have the choice of either your balcony that overlooks the ocean or overlooking right into the Surfside neighborhood.
And in Surfside, there's the unlimited free soft serve machine too. So
yes.
That's why you want to stay there.
Ice creams.
Priorities.
Yeah, there's also a little cute candy shop.
There's a candy shop. There's a sit-down restaurant. There's a bar that has snacks, and then there's also a family buffet in there.
Very kid-themed buffet. We went in and checked it out, and they had all of the entrees were sort of superhero-themed names. It was chicken tenders and fries and things, but it was like Spider-Man pizza.
Really good-looking pasta.
It looked great.
And had a grab-and-go sliced pizza. Great little buffet in there.
If you, for example, have a 17-year-old who lives on chicken tenders and fries, that would be where he would hang out. And the dining options on this ship, there are so many of them. And one thing I was impressed with is a lot of dining options, and this is on Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, a lot of the mass market ships is a lot of their specialty dining is an upcharge, but this ship really had a great mix of upcharge specialty dining and included dining that wasn't just the main dining room or
usually
the buffet.
On those ships, the dining room is kind of it for
and your buffet. Yep, Windjammer.
Yeah,
but this one had a ton of included dining venues that weren't an upcharge. My favorite,
2 different cafes.
Yeah, my favorite was this little food court area that was. They describe it as being sort of like a food truck style experience.
Yeah, it was like a food hall.
Yeah, so they had a little crepe stand, if you want to call it, and a pasta, build your own pasta, and build your own Asian, a mac and cheese
place that had like 8 different kinds of loaded mac and cheeses. Oh,
really, really delicious. And then a whole seating area. So you could go down there and there's, a little something for everyone. And that could be a great lunch or dinner.
That was open all the time too. That was, you could pretty much just eat all day in there.
And then
it's a little bit like the galley on
the Mexican buffet. This was amazing.
Yeah. I need more of those in my
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's
good.
It's out on the top deck, but one
Near
step
one of the
down
pools,
from, like,
right?
where all the chill and thrill islands are. But it's near one of the other pools, and it's like a whole covered, beautiful outdoor area. But they have build your own nacho bar. They have grab and go,
All you can eat
burritos,
nachos,
tacos,
quesadillas.
and then a whole salsa and sauce bar and the toppings bar. Like that,
Man, it was
that
delicious.
dangerous.
So you could
And the food
build
was
like a
excellent. And right
Mexican
there-
rice bowl or tacos.
Yeah, it's like choose your protein or whatever, but it's all self-serve. And then other than just the burritos that were awesome, that were grab and go, that was dangerous for me. Every time I walked by, like, oh, yeah, don't mind if I
Let's
do.
have a
that. It's all
burrito.
just a burrito. And next to that was a awesome mezcal and tequila bar with the best margaritas on the ship right there.
Yep. So good. There are so many bars. It's like in the 40s of different
Well, it's
Bars
bars
and
and
restaurants.
restaurants,
Yeah.
but most of those really are bars. So I think
Yeah.
I think we went to each one. I wanted to make a TikTok that was me cheersing at each one, but after 4 days there, I had passed out drunk by noon each day, so I couldn't quite get to.
I want to make a prediction real quick, and I'm going to say that Heather probably opted to spend the least amount of time in, what is this one called? In the Overlook.
Why do
You know?
you think that I spent
This
the
is the one
least
that makes
amount
you
of
look
time
under
there?
the sea, surrounded by bubbles. There's a lot of holes in it.
Well, do you know there weren't as many as on the Virgin ships? There were some
Really?
that I didn't love. I yes.
Because this entire room looks like it's full of holes in the walls
Yeah, I
and
asked her
ceilings.
about that. They look like bubbles.
Bubbles
and they're
don't bother
spaced
me.
in a way that didn't make her
Okay.
creep out.
Yeah.
I see. They're
Yep.
large enough, maybe.
Well, and it's
But actually, that
yeah,
overlook
it's
area
beautiful.
is behind the
It looks
Aquadome, and it's
really
gorgeous
cool.
in there. There's a big, classy, like round bar with padded, beautiful seats and stuff, and then they have all these little elevated hangout rooms for like
Those are
groups
cool.
of 10 people.
and
or
that
so.
bar
Yeah, they look
served
like
a
little jellyfish,
delicious
kind of.
espresso martini.
Yeah, they have
So
a coffee.
good. What was it
themed
called?
bar
Ryan
there.
Bean or
Yeah,
Bean
Ryan
and
Bean. It was
something?
all coffee and coffee
Bean,
booze.
yeah.
Yummy.
That's a great quiet place to hang out.
And at night it was very cool because it gave me more of like an aquarium vibes,
Mm-hmm.
but with
Yeah, it looks really
fewer corals with disturbing holes
I did
all
ask
over
her
them.
about the holes in those walls.
Yeah.
Something about the spacing of those.
Yeah,
didn't get it.
bubbles don't bother me.
good to know.
It's weird. I
That
know.
was one of so many bars. We spent one evening just kind of bar hopping with a group of other industry folks that are friends of ours. And we went all through the promenade. There's a karaoke bar there that's awesome. The whole thing is just like a big stage.
Mhm. And
wrap
it
around,
looks out
all the time karaoke.
over the Royal Promenade. So if you're in there singing karaoke, it's not just the people who have chosen to go in the
Yeah.
karaoke bar who can see
Yeah,
you.
people walking
and
by,
hear
it's
you.
Windows open out, almost like an
Oh,
airport
nice.
bar, so you could
Yeah.
stand outside
Mhm.
and watch the people in. There's a comedy club.
Yes, I was just gonna say that.
Three comic showcase.
It was great.
Full on permanent comedy club they have
Mhm.
in there.
And a lot
there's
of that stuff
there's
is
a
a
pub
part of
with
the entertainment that
influence.
you can sign up for. You can pre-book a comedy show. The Broadway style show on this ship is The Wizard of Oz. It was still in tech rehearsals on the sailing that we did, and they were running kind of long. It was 2 to 3 hours because they're still doing tech
And
adjustments.
that wasn't even to get through the whole show. You
Yeah,
just saw parts
so-
of it.
they were still also working on the aquatic show. So we just saw they did some little snippets of it, the diving and the aquatic
It's
acrobatics. So cool
it's
though.
huge, like Cirque du Soleil
Mhm.
level huge.
And we went to the ice show, which was so bizarre, but we really loved it. The theme of it was very sciencey atoms, like it starts with the Big Bang
It
and
was
this
called Elemental.
yeah,
so
this-
it was all elements and how they were formed in this puppet
the
master.
Starman.
So-
Yeah.
But mostly it's different pop songs that they come out and sing
Yeah,
and dance.
like
to.
Neutron
one of them was
Dance
She
and-
blinded me with science
Yeah.
and neutron dance and different thing. But the ice
on
skating
ice.
was great in the show.
Very
was good.
cool.
They had this-
There's something about seeing a
juggler.
full Icecapades style show on a cruise ship that I find thrilling. It's great.
We've seen a couple of these on different royal ships, and the quote plot is always a little bit
Bizarre.
okay, whatever. But the ice skating and the sound and all the
It's really
songs and all
neat.
is super fun and really good.
Trying
What
to
other
think if there's other
There's
entertainment that
bands
we didn't
everywhere.
make.
So if you walk through the promenade, there's karaoke going on. Then there's always some kind of singer songwriter type of person that's in the English pub. They have like a
Love
traditional
that.
Irish pub.
Which on this one
kind of
has a
vibe.
gin and
There's a-
tonic, build your own gin and tonic menu,
There was
which I
another
love.
singer that was up in this kind of Italian bar that was like a vocalist, and they had in Central Park it's a jazz club in there.
That
So
jazz
there's
club was
always
cool, yeah.
jazz music. You can just walk, and all that stuff's included in the price, so you can have a drink and listen to singer songwriter, Irish guys, classical music. I mean, it was nuts. Just music and entertainment everywhere.
There's
Comedy
an
shows.
upcharge experience supper club. What was that
just
called?
looking
The
at that.
Empire.
The Empire Supper Club.
Yes, it was very cool. It's a significant upcharge, $200 a person, I think, but it's dinner and a show, basically.
Multi-course, 7-course meal. Amazing, like
It's
Wagyu beef.
Just beautiful in
Oysters
there.
are
It's sort
gorgeous.
of like speakeasy 20s themed. It's
Traditional,
gorgeous.
like, supper club from
they got
the
a
New
jazz
York
combo.
40s or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, they have a jazz combo and an MC, and I guess they were telling us that the food experience blends in with the entertainment, and whatever course you're on, the entertainment will fit
That was
what they're
not open
serving.
while we were there. They were doing private functions in there, but we did get to tour the space, and it's
When they had
absolutely
there was a whole day where all of the upcharge restaurants did they call it the taste of the icon, and they were serving like little hors d'oeuvre sizes of all the food. And so you could go around and taste it. And it was really, really good. Oh, one music venue that we didn't discover until very late in it is the music hall, which is like a full concert venue, huge
yeah.
concert
It's
venue.
like Hard Rock Live or something,
Yeah.
but on a ship, and it holds like 1,200 people in there. Like,
Very
it's just
cool.
crazy.
Yeah,
They got to
they
have
have-
places for all these people.
exactly. And they've done a
That's the
great
thing
job
is
with
there's
it.
so many venues and events like that absorb the crowd, so no space ever felt very crowded.
Mm-mm.
And a casino, huge biggest
casino.
I've seen
Yep.
at sea.
Yeah, over 400
Yeah.
slots and tables combined there.
And then, of course, they have kids clubs for all different ages of kids. Their kids club programming is much more interactive, play led. It's kind of with sort of summer camp style with their youth counselors that lead the activities. It's not really like on the Disney ships where there's just free play kinds of things. They do have, of course, on Disney, counselor led activities, but there's a lot of just free choice areas, a lot more than on this ship. But it was very, very beautiful, nice space, and kids who like that sort of led activity kind of summer camp vibe would really love it. So much for every age on this ship.
We never even made it back to the downstairs back in the hideaway infinity pool area. We looked down at it, we're like, we need to get down there later, but there's so much to do. So many bars to drink at. We never made it.
It seems like that's kind of a theme with newer cruise experiences. They're realizing that people want to be doing things. It's not just go sit. And there's opportunities to go sit by the pool if you want to. And there's plenty of pools and they look great and amazing. But just the cruise lines are putting in all these other activities and opportunities to do stuff.
If you're the kind of person who really does just want to sit out on the sun deck and soak in the rays, there's plenty of opportunity for you to do that.
And speaking of bands, there was a reggae band.
Oh,
out
yeah, they
there.
were great.
So you could get near them and see them and still hang out in either a hot tub or pool area, or you could just be far away and just faintly hear the music. And it was such a great vibe out there.
Lots of also like rental cabana type things that you would see in a beach resort. They have those out on the decks too, various types. But so many activities. And then
shaded and non-shaded areas. They did a good job with that. There's whole covered areas up at the front end of each of the outdoor areas that were shaded but open, so you could still look out and see but not get a sunburn.
And lots of places that are quiet-ish with power and tables and for people to go work, because that is a big part of a vacation these days too, is there are people who work from home and want to keep working from home or still want to be able to connect to the office. The Pearl Cafe was perfect for that. Oh yeah. The Wi-Fi is great.
I need to start working for more cruise ships.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. We saw a lot. Well, this was because this was kind of an industry preview kind of thing. We saw tons and tons of people working. Lots of places we talked about. The Overlook was a great place to go and work. The Pearl Cafe was huge. So many tables and just beautiful with the floor to ceiling windows, and the artwork all over the ship is very cool.
The cafe part of that Pearl Cafe was great. They had all these grab and go options, and then like paninis they would press for you. You pick your different things,
and all included.
The coffee bar part, and all that stuff was included. Juice and coffees, and
you definitely won't go hungry. Royal Caribbean is one that you have the opportunity to buy a beverage package. So things like soda are not included. It's your basics, coffee, tea, water, juice is what's included. And then you can do just a soda package or an alcoholic beverage package to make it more all-inclusive.
And within the alcoholic ones, you can get a regular or premium. And the premium is there's no limit on your premium brands and stuff. The regular package would be like stuff. But I think for premiums, your things like Hendrix and higher end tequilas and things
better
like that
champagnes. And they always are running promos for either onboard credits or specialty dining, having a certain number of specialty dining included. Then you can get a couple of dinners and even in most of the specialty dining that is an upcharge, the upcharge is typically not very much. The supper club, I think, is really the only one that was a fairly significant upcharge, which, that's kind of equivalent to, if you're familiar with Disney Cruise Line, Remy is about $200 a person for that experience. So that's fairly typical industry standard kind of thing.
And there's no dinner show there.
Right. You just got to talk to the people you're with.
Quality of food with the show as well.
Yeah.
And there's a hibachi place and a sushi place. I mean, we didn't even get to so many.
So many of the things. Like, we saw them and we photographed them, but we didn't experience them because there's just not enough time.
Yeah, the steakhouse looks really cool.
Yeah.
They got a meat locker with the beef just sitting out.
Yeah.
We toured through the dining room that is
beautiful, by the way.
Off of the... Yeah, we never ate in the main dining room, but it's just
we were just wanting to experience the rest of the stuff. And I was really impressed with the way that they sectioned it so that no one area of that main dining room felt like you were in a giant, huge space. It almost was little neighborhoods the same as the rest of the ship. It was 3 or 4 stories.
In a way that you felt like you're in just a smaller restaurant. Similar to how the new Disney ship, the Wish, has done, where the bigger rooms are kind of divided
down so you don't feel like you're intimate. In a huge space, which gets pretty loud if you're in a room with
doesn't feel like
several thousand people. Windjammer on this one was like that too. It plenty of seating. That's the buffet at lots of different stations.
Was amazing. That was my favorite, actually.
It was very, very good.
It's buffet, but it's a lot of different stations, from carving stations and cook to order stations and all that. Is really
build your own pasta stuff. And they cook it for you right there.
Each night they run specials and all. So if you weren't the go sit at the dining room kind of person, you just want to go there, they have everything you can imagine. And one thing that I pointed out to a friend of ours that has celiac is they have an entire full section that every single thing there is gluten-free. It's a whole bar, and it's everything from soup to desserts, all gluten-free. And so you don't even have to worry about the rest of the food. Just go there.
Like physically off away from everything else. You could see that it has its own kitchen.
Serving out of. So that's super cool. I had not seen that before.
It was a really great idea. All of the ships do a really good job handling allergies, but that was something new I hadn't seen before. Just a whole separate area of gluten-free. It was great. I overall was kind of blown away and impressed with it more than I thought I was going to be, and really thought the whole time, like, they have put their money where their mouth is on trying to design a ship that is perfect for the entire family. Royal Caribbean has always positioned themselves as the perfect family cruise line, and they really are. And this ship does the job so well.
This would be ideal for family reunion get
Oh,
together.
absolutely.
Like every few years when multi-gens get together, because there's enough stuff you could all do together and enjoy together, from shows and dinners, and then so many things to break off and go do to get away from Nana and Pop-Pop.
Yeah, and Nana and Pop-Pop to get away from everybody else.
Yeah.
This ship, the Icon, is sailing out of Miami and doing mostly 7-night Caribbean sailings. The second ship in this class is already coming out next year. The Star of the Seas will be coming out in 2025. And they have another Oasis class ship launching later this year, the Utopia of the Seas.
Did y'all ever see a stat of how much bigger percentage-wise this ship is than the Oasis
class?
Like
I think it's out there.
30% or something?
We were docked at Coco Cay next to not an Oasis class ship, one of their class before that. And
that was like the Vision or something.
yeah. The Radiance, maybe? Something like that. The
This thing
difference
more
was
than
shocking.
twice as big as that. It looked like 3 of those ships tied together.
It says, according to cruisemummy.co.uk, the Icon is 5% bigger in volume and 7% larger in terms of total capacity, passengers and crew.
Interesting. I would have expected it was even bigger than the Oasis class.
Well, yeah, but so much of that extra space is like activities and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Yeah, and they keep the bushes trimmed around Central Park real well.
Everybody
so it makes it look bigger.
That's just polite when you've got company coming.
Yeah.
Anywho,
we hadn't hit our quota of dick jokes for the episode. Thanks for swooping in right at the end there.
Yeah. No problem.
Jeff never disappoints.
No. Well, at least in that way. I'll cut that out. It really does sound like how you kind of briefly mentioned way back at the beginning we were talking. It's a floating theme park.
It really is. Yeah.
There's so much to do.
That was their point, and they succeeded. They are really heavily going after that market of the family that does the theme park vacation, and they want to say, look, you can have all of this stuff on one of our ships and see some cool places at the same time.
Exactly. That's always a bonus instead of looking at the same spot.
That's right.
That's nice.
And you can sit inside of a big glass trucker hat.
Yes.
That's true. Or a giant champagne glass. Did you see the hot tub that is inside a giant champagne glass? It's right over the swim and tonic swim.
Oh, yes, I did see that. I guess I didn't.
It's a little stylized.
Yeah, it is a little stylized. Until you just said that. Like, no, that was.
Yeah, it looks like it's on a margarita glass.
Yes.
Margarita glass.
Yeah.
Some sort of barware.
That whole area is just very, very cool. I really liked it a lot. It was a little chilly, our sailing.
I wish it had been warmer.
It wasn't really warm enough, but it was good.
Whenever it was.
Yeah. It was mid-January. You nailed it.
February. When was it? I don't
It was January. It was last month.
A few weeks ago. It was recent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Within recent memory. Well, I'm going to say thanks for hanging out with us again this week. If you're ready to explore the Caribbean on the Icon of the Seas,
I am.
Key to the World Travel has the Swim and Tonic Pool full. Key to the World Travel has the Swim and Tonic Pool full of expert travel planners, and they're ready to make your vacation dreams a reality. Head to www.keytotheworldtravel.com to get started with a no-obligation quote. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow our show. If you have a friend or two who you think would appreciate our special brand of globe-trotting jackassery, tell them what makes our show so great and send them our way. You can find links to subscribe to the show on your favorite apps and all the latest Gold Key Adventure updates at www.goldkeyadventurers.com. We can't wait to hang out with you again, and we'll see you real soon.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks for sailing by.
That's funny.
To ask a question or share your travel story, you can reach us by smoke signal, carrier pigeon, or send an email to goldkeyadventurers@gmail.com. And make sure you follow the Gold Key Adventure Society on Facebook and Instagram. A huge thanks to our sponsor, Key to the World Travel. For all your travel planning needs, visit www.keytotheworldtravel.com for a free quote and help planning the trip of a lifetime. Tell them the Gold Key Adventurers sent you. That's www.keytotheworldtravel.com. Key to the World Travel, your key to a magical vacation. Thanks to Outer Vibe for the use of their song Hoka Hey for the intro and outro of our show. Find them on Facebook at The Outer Vibe or check out www.outervibe.com for tour dates, music, merch, and more. We'll see you next week for another meeting of the Gold Key Adventure Society. And until then, remember, life is short and the world is wide. So go have an adventure.